Chapter 17, Oligopoly. In this chapter, these are the questions we will be answering. What outcomes are possible under oligopoly? Why is it difficult for oligopoly firms to cooperate? How we can use game theory to analyze the economics of cooperation? How are antitrust laws used to foster competition? Review. Concentration ratio. These measure a market's domination by a small number of firms. It's a percentage of total output in the market supplied by the four largest firms. The higher the concentration ratio, the less competition. Less than 50% for most industries. A few exceptions. Light bulbs, 84%. Batteries, 87%. Tobacco, 88%. Beer, 88%. And home refrigerators and freezers, 93%. Review the four types of market structures. Number of firms. One firm, that's called monopoly. Example is tap water and cable television. Few firms is oligopoly. Examples would be tennis balls and cigarettes. Many firms is either differentiated products that would make it monopolistic competition. Examples are novels and movies. Or identical products that would make it perfect competition. Examples would be wheat and milk. Oligopoly market structure in which only a few sellers offer similar or identical products. Strategic behavior in oligopoly. Firms' decisions about price and output can affect other firms and cause them to react. The firm will consider these reactions when making decisions. Game theory, the study of how people behave in strategic situations. Markets with only a few sellers, oligopolists. Best off when they cooperate and together act like a monopolist. There is strong incentives to hinder a group of firms from maintaining the cooperative outcome. Duopoly is a market with only two sellers, and this is the simplest type of oligopoly. Example 1, gas station duopoly in Smallville. The table, Smallville's demand schedule for gasoline. Smallville has only two gas stations, 7-Eleven and Casey's duopoly. Quantity is gallons of gasoline. Each farm's costs are MC equals to $1 and FC equals 0. Example 1, Smallville, competition versus monopoly. Total revenue, simply price times quantity, 0 times 10,000 is 0, 1 times 9,200 is 9,200, and so on. Cost is given. Profits is simply revenue minus cost. 0 minus 10,000 is negative 10,000. 9,200 minus 9,200 is 0. 16,800 minus 8,400 is 8,400, and so on. Competitive outcome. In the competitive outcome, price equals marginal cost. Price equals Marginal cost equals to $1. Output is 9,200. Profit equals 0. Monopoly outcome. Price equals $7. Quantity equals 4,400. And profit is 26,400. Collusion. One possible duopoly outcome is collusion. Collusion is an agreement among firms in a market about quantities to produce or prices to charge. A cartel is a group of firms acting in unison. Active Learning 1, Collusion in Smallville. Duopoly outcome with collusion. Each gas station agrees to sell Q output of 2,200 at a price of $7. Each farm profit is equal to 13,200. Number A. If Casey's cheats on the agreement and plans to sell Q equals to 3,000, what happens to the market price? Calculate Casey's profit. B. Is it in Casey's interest to cheat on the agreement? Number C. If both gas stations cheat and plan to sell output equals 3,000, each calculate their profits. Answer. If both stick to the agreement, each farm earns 13,200. Number A. If Casey cheats and sells 3,000, market quantity is equal to 3,000 plus 2,200 is 5,200, and the price will be $6. Casey's profit is 3,000 times 6 minus 1, and that is $15,000. B. Yes, Casey is better off because he's making higher profit. C. If both cheat, Q1 equals Q2 equals 3,000. They both produce 3,000. Market quantity is now 6,000. Price will be $5. Each farm's profit is 3,000 times 5 minus 1, and that equals 12,000. Collusion versus self-interest. Both farms would be better off if both stick to the collusion agreement formed and form a cartel. But each farm has an incentive to cheat on the agreement. What is the lesson? It is difficult for oligopoly farms to form cartels and honor their agreement. Active Learning 2, Duopoly Equilibrium in Smallville. If each farm sells output 3,000 at the price of $5 and each farm's profit is 12,000, number A, should Casey's increase output to 3,800? Number B, should 7-Eleven increase output to 3,800? If each farm sells output Q equals 3,000 at the price equals 5, and each farm's profit is 12,200. Number A, if Casey's increases output to 3,800, market output is 6,800 at the price of $4. Casey's profit is 3,800 times 4 minus 1, which is equal to 11,400. Casey earns a lower profit at output 3,800 than at output 3,000. B. The same is true for 7-Eleven. The equilibrium for an oligopoly, the Nash equilibrium. Economic actors interacting with one another each choose their best strategy. Given the strategies that all other actors have chosen, when firms in an oligopoly individually choose production to maximize profit, produce Q greater than monopoly output, but less than competitive output. The price is less than the monopoly price and greater than the competitive price of P equals MC. The output and price effects. Increasing output has two effects on a firm's profit. Output effect: if price is greater than marginal cost, increasing output raises profit. What about price effect? Raising output increases market quantity, which reduces price and reduces profit on all units sold. The size of an oligopoly. As the number of sellers in an oligopoly increases, the price effect becomes smaller. The oligopoly looks more and more like a competitive firm. The price approaches marginal cost. The market quantity approaches the socially efficient quantity. Another benefit of international trade. Ask the experts. Market share and market power. If a small number of firms have a large combined market share in a properly defined market, it is strong evidence that those firms have substantial market power. 54% agree, 25% disagree, 21% are uncertain. The economics of cooperation, the prisoner's dilemma. This is a particular game between two captured prisoners. It illustrates why cooperation is difficult to maintain even when it is mutually beneficial. So, dominant strategy. This is a strategy that is best for a player in a game, regardless of the strategies chosen by other players. Example 2, the prisoner's dilemma. The police have caught Bonnie and Clyde, two suspected bank robbers, but only have enough evidence to imprison each for 1 year. The police question each in separate rooms, offer each the following deal. If you confess and implicate your partner, you go free. If you do not confess, but your partner implicates you, you get 20 years in prison. If you both confess, each gets 8 years in prison. Bonnie and Clyde outcome. Confessing is the dominant strategy for both players. So they both will be in this quadrant and they both get 8 years. The Nash equilibrium, that is, both will confess. Outcome of the game. Bonnie and Clyde both confess, each get 8 years in prison. Both would have been better off if both remained silent. But even if Bonnie and Clyde had agreed before being caught to remain silent, the logic of self-interest takes over and leads them to confess. Oligopolies as a prisoner's dilemma. When oligopolies form a cartel, hoping to reach the monopoly outcome, they become players in a prisoner's dilemma. The monopoly outcome is jointly rational, but each firm has an incentive to cheat. Self-interest makes it hard to remain the cooperative outcome with lower production, high prices, and monopoly profits. Casey and 7-Eleven prisoners' dilemma. Each firm's dominant strategy: cheat on the agreement and produce 3,000. And they will end up in this quadrant with, of course, lower profits. Other examples of the prisoner's dilemma: ad wars. Two firms spend millions on TV ads to steal business from each other. Each firm's ad cancels out the effect of the other, and both firms' profit falls by the cost of the ads. Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Member countries try to act like a cartel, agree to limit oil production to boost prices and profits, but agreements sometimes break down when individual countries renege. Arms race between military superpowers. Each country would be better off if both disarm, but each has a dominant strategy of arming. Common resources. All would be better off if everyone conserved common resources, but each person's dominant strategy is overusing the resources. Welfare of society. Non-cooperative oligopoly equilibrium may be bad for oligopolies and prevent them from achieving monopoly profits, may be bad for society, for example, arms race game, common resource game, may be good for society, quantity and price becomes closer to optimal level. Active learning 3. Go fish on Lake Michigan. Assume there are only two companies that own the entire commercial fishing fleet: the joy of fishing and the singing fish, and there are no restrictions on commercial fishing on Lake Michigan. If both choose to catch a small quantity, each earns 300 million profit. If both choose to catch larger quantity, each earns $250 million of profit. If one company chooses to catch a small quantity, but the other chooses a large quantity, the one choosing the small quantity earns $150 million and the other earns $400 million profit. What is the colluding outcome? What is the Nash equilibrium? The diagram shows colluding outcome: both catch a small quantity, and the outcome is $250 million of equilibrium. And that's the Nash equilibrium. Negative campaign ads. Elections with two candidates R and D. If R runs a negative ad attacking D, 3,000 fewer people will vote for D. That is, 1,000 of these people vote for R, the rest abstain. If D runs a negative ad attacking R loses 3,000 votes, D gains 1,000, and 2,000 abstain. R and D agree to refrain from running attack ads. Will each of them stick to the agreement? This is the table. What is the dominant strategy? Each candidate's dominant strategy is to run attack ads. Nash equilibrium. Both candidates run attack ads. Effects on election outcome is none. Each side's ad cancel out the effect of the other side's ad. Effects on society is negative: lower voter turnout, higher apathy about politics, less voter scrutiny of elected officials' actions. Why people sometimes cooperate. When the game is repeated many times, cooperation may be possible. Two strategies may lead to cooperation. If your rival reneges in one round, you renege in all subsequent rounds. So it's a tit for tat kind of game. Whatever your rival does in one round, whether renege or cooperate, you do in the following round. Public policy toward oligopolies. Governments can sometimes improve market outcomes. So policymakers try to induce firms in an oligopoly to compete rather than cooperate. They move the allocation of resources closer to social optimum. Antitrust laws. The Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 elevated agreement among oligopolists from an enforceable contract to a criminal conspiracy. The Clayton Act of 1914 further strengthened the antitrust laws. The laws are used to prevent mergers that would give a firm excessive market power. Oligopolists from acting together in ways that would make their markets less competitive. Active learning 4. The airline fare wars game. The players, American Airlines and Braniff Airways, the choice cut fares by 50% or leave fares alone. If both airlines cut fares, each airline's profit is 400 million. If neither airline cut fares, each airline's profit is 600 million. If only one airline cut fares, its profit would be 800 million. The other airline's profit would be 200 million. Draw the payoff matrix, find the Nash equilibrium. And this is Braniff Airways, and American Airways. Nash equilibrium, both firms will cut fares, air wars, and the profit is less, 400 million. Controversies over antitrust policy. Most people agree that price fixing agreements among competitors should be illegal. Some economists are concerned that policymakers go too far when using antitrust laws to stifle business practices that are not necessarily harmful and may have legitimate objectives. We consider three such practices. Resale price maintenance. A manufacturer imposes lower limits on the prices retailers can charge, often opposed because it appears to reduce competition at the retail level. Yet any market power the manufacturer has is at the wholesale level. No gains from restricting competition at the retail level. Legitimate goal is preventing discount retailers from free riding on the services provided by full service retailers. 2. Predatory pricing. A firm cuts prices to prevent entry or drive a competitor out of the market so that it can charge monopoly prices later. Illegal under antitrust laws. Difficult when a price cut is predatory and when it is competitive and beneficial to consumers. Many economists doubt that predatory pricing is a rational strategy. It involves selling at a loss, costly for the firm, and it can backfire. Tying. Number 3. A manufacturer bundles two products together and sells them for one price. Critics say that tying gives firms more market power by connecting weak products to strong ones. Others, tying cannot change market power. Buyers are not willing to pay more for two goods together than for the goods separately. Firms may use tying for price discrimination, sometimes increases economic efficiency. Think pair share. New on campus in a small town, your best friend Elijah is amazed that both grocery stores in town are open 24 hours. He says, this is a great deal, great idea. Staying open all the time must mean that both stores make lots of profit. Number A, since there are only two grocery stores in town, is it likely they make lots of profit by staying open 24 hours? Number B, can you use prisoner's dilemma to explain why the stores are open 24 hours a day? Chapter in a nutshell. Oligopolists maximize their total profits by forming a cartel and acting like a monopolist. Yet, if oligopolists make decisions about production levels individually, the result is a greater quantity and a lower price than under the monopoly outcome. The larger the number of farms in the oligopoly, the closer the quantity and price will be to the levels that would prevail under perfect competition. The prisoner's dilemma shows that self-interest can prevent people from maintaining cooperation, even when cooperation is in their mutual interest. The logic of the prisoner's dilemma applies to many situations, including arms races, common resource problems, and oligopolies. Policymakers use the antitrust laws to prevent oligopolies from engaging in behavior that reduces competition. The application of these laws can be controversial because some behavior that can appear to reduce competition may in fact have legitimate business purposes.